Thanks for tuning in to the Drive On podcast, where we're focused on giving hope and strength to the entire military community. Whether you're a veteran, active duty, guard, reserve, or a family member, this podcast will share inspirational stories and resources that are useful to you. I'm your host, Scott DeLuzio, and now let's get on with the show. When things go sideways, will you be prepared? Some people are concerned they might have to go for a long time without electricity or even food. That's why I want to introduce you to 4patriots.com. Get preparedness products you can use now, and that could save your life later. My favorite is 4Patriots' new solar generator, the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. It uses the endless free power of the sun to power lights, your TV, medical equipment, even run your fridge. Plus, it's expandable and comes with a free solar panel. Or pick up one of 4Patriots' best-selling survival food kits. Delicious tasting and designed to last for 25 years. They even have kits with real meat, and if the power's out, no worries. Just boil water over a fire, simmer, and serve. You'll enjoy a hot meal and stay safe in a crisis. More smart people than ever are finding 4Patriots. Over 2 million customers trust them, and you might have even seen them on TV. I had the folks at 4Patriots set up a special page for you at 4patriots.com/drive-on so that listeners of this podcast can see this week's discounts and deals before they go away. Go to 4patriots.com/drive-on, but hurry, these deals won't last long. Save more and get peace of mind now by going to 4patriots.com/drive-on. Hey everybody, welcome back to Drive On. I'm your host, Scott DeLuzio. And before we get started with this episode, I want to let the listeners know that the topic of today's episode is suicide prevention and awareness. And we'll obviously have some conversation that touches on suicide. So if that isn't something that you're comfortable with or can handle at the moment, we'll just catch you on the next episode. So feel free to tune out at this point if need be for your own situation. But for the listeners who are sticking around, today my guest is Doug Brinker. Doug is the founder of Beacon for Hope, where he provides suicide prevention techniques and workshops to veterans, active duty, and teens, as well as organizations. And he's here to discuss his background and how he helps others navigate the difficult topic of suicide prevention. So with that, welcome to the show, Doug. I'm glad to have you here.
Morning, comrade.
So for the listeners who maybe don't know a ton about you and what you do, let's start a little bit about your background, who you are, and your journey to where you are now.
Well, first and foremost, I am a survivor. I am an advocate. I am an individual that served in two different branches of military, a father to a U.S. Marine, a father to another firstborn son, and most importantly, I am the beacon for hope for other people. A little bit about my background. I lived here in Michigan my whole life, other than the time away for the Navy and deployment to Iraq 19 years ago. I'm also an individual that's been, like many of your listeners, have been down those ups and downs, those peaks and valleys of life. More valleys than peaks. The first 25, 30 years of my life. And since then, lots of peaks. And my peak is just about complete here in this next year. Where I work, I provide veteran peer support specialist work to veterans that come into our agency that are referred to me. And more importantly, during my dark time 24 years ago, the very same agency that I once received services from, I now work for.
It's a nice full circle journey that you've gone on, right? Yeah. And hopefully that peak continues, right? Where you continue to grow, and the more people that you help, I got to imagine your peak is just going to continue to grow, right? It's not your journey isn't over just because you've gotten to a certain point. The way I look at things is, um, you know, any um, any accomplishments you can always improve on. Like you might have accomplished helping out this one individual, but you can always help out that next one, right? So there's always more going on with all of that, right? So you were in not only the Navy but also the Army as well, which is uh, for me, it's always interesting to hear from folks who have switched branches of service and hear about what prompted you to make that switch.
Well, in 1981, I joined the Navy only because I tried to go to Eastern Michigan University, and for the most part was told by the guidance counselor, because I didn't prepare for college, my chance of success in college would be minimal to none. So I joined the Navy. See the world. Go around the world. I actually did the driving. I was a boatswain's mate, or for anyone that's not familiar, basically, like I said, I drove the ship, I helped paint it, I helped tie it up, do all that janitor work, kind of say, the deck ape, they call them, or deck hands. And I wanted personally to stay in the Navy. Unfortunately, certain circumstances occurred to the point where I wasn't able to stay. Navy really didn't, back then, they weren't up for, well, we'll do anything to keep you like they do today.
Right.
So I got out. Unfortunately, the administration officer wrote a wrong code on my discharge papers, which did not allow me to do active drill for the other 3 years. I came home, and 2 years later, I joined the 1461st Combat Transportation Unit here in Jackson, Michigan. Served 3 years, kind of got bored, in your early 30s. You're just trying to still explore and find yourself. I did that, worked a ton of jobs, got out, and then in October of 2002, some enticing by the recruiter, I went back in. And the ironic thing, when I got out of the 1461st Michigan Army National Guard, the armor was a Spec 4. When I went back in, he changed and became a captain. And so I had to call him sir. I had to salute him. Talk about the irony of that whole thing, going from an enlisted to an officer just in a few years. And it was really ironic when I saw the name that I had to report to. I was like, that name sounds really familiar. Sure enough, I walked in and had to call him sir.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, I joined the Guard, rejoined the Guard, and Iraq, all the whole Desert Storm and everything occurred. And I decided, I volunteered. They were looking for volunteers to deploy to Iraq. So myself and 35 others of my fellow comrades of the unit attached to another unit out of Howell, Michigan, went up to Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. It's ironic that you go to the coldest part of the country to train to go to the hottest part of the country. And when we were up there, it was upwards of 45 below zero. And the day we left, we got on the airplane, it was 22 in snow, and we arrived in the same day in Kuwait at 87 degrees.
That's a shock to the system, right?
Major shock.
Yeah. When we went to Afghanistan, we started our training in Indiana, and it was cold. It was snowy. It was late November, early December time period, right? Cold, snow. Like we had all of our cold weather gear on, like gloves, everything. Like we were cold. And then we continued our training down in Louisiana, and where it was warmer. It wasn't hot, but it was warmer, but wet. Everything was muddy and wet. And we were going to the desert in Afghanistan where it's hot, it's dry, the complete opposite of both of those locations. And the irony wasn't lost on me. Like I was like, this just doesn't make sense. We have deserts in this country. We can go do the same training there and get acclimated, and we have mountains too. And guess what? Afghanistan has mountains, and we probably our lungs and everything. We need to get acclimated to higher elevation. So maybe we should go do some of this training up in the mountains. But you know what? That was beyond my pay grade. So
Here's my theory. Maybe they actually ended up wanting to keep everybody alive, because if they would have sent you to the desert for training, somebody would have probably gotten bit by a scorpion or
yeah,
something and would have gotten killed or maimed, and then they'd have to call back to the States and have another bunch of troops sent back
yeah.
home to replace the ones that were out of service.
Although some of the spiders and other critters that are crawling around in Afghanistan, I mean, I swear to you, there was a spider the size of my fist. Like the body, not the leg. I'm not counting the legs. The body was like the
Look
size
like a
of my
little
fist.
chihuahuas.
I mean, I could have put a leash on it and walked it around, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, same in Iraq. They're
Yeah.
camel spiders.
Yeah,
They're about that big around.
they're huge. They are huge. Yeah. Like,
They look like little dogs.
yeah. And it's the worst part is when you find one in the shower, when you got nothing to kill it with, because you're just standing there naked.
Yeah, it ain't like you're gonna step on it.
No, you step on it, it's gonna
Yeah.
kick you back.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's gonna have a bigger attitude than you got.
Yeah, and it's not gonna be a good attitude.
No.
So I want to kind of bring us back a little bit to what we were talking about, and kind of in your story. You are a two-time suicide attempt survivor, and I want to talk about that, and kind of, if you're willing to share, what was going on, and what, I got to choose my words carefully here, but what made you think that was uh, the way that you wanted to go? That was got to be a tough decision to make.
So coming out next year in my book, My Dark Shadow, Living a Suicidal Self, it's every chapter, for one, there's 22 chapters to reflect the minimum average of veterans' lives lost every day to suicide. So here's the thing, in the book, and how I share my recovery story to groups that I get the opportunity to speak to and be open for bookings, is I was adopted. I was raised by my grandparents, who actually become kind of my parents, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know how the legalities of that all work. But then my grandpa he turned to the bottle, and after grandma passed away, and long of the short, he had to place me in a children's home. So I spent, from 8 to 13, I spent in the St. Joe's Children's Home here in Jackson, Michigan, the same children's home that Tom Monahan from the Detroit Tigers was in 20 years or so earlier. So I spent that, and I came out, and I was in different school districts, different schools. I never had purpose. I was like, the first 15 years of my life was just searching. And I was bullied. I got in a bike accident at 8 and 18. I was nearly drowned in that very same children's pool at 10. And when I went in the Navy, there's hazing and stuff going on. And I really never, honestly, as a shy introvert, I never found my purpose and existence in life. And then when I came out of the Navy, it was just chasing these $3 and $4 an hour jobs.
Yeah.
The kids today complain about $10, $15 an hour and they want more, I would have been a millionaire. You and I would have been a millionaire if we were making $15 an hour washing dishes
Right.
back then. But I struggled to find my identity. I didn't feel like I was just a human being. In my opinion, I was a human being stuck in this world, just existing.
Yeah.
And between all these broken jobs and relationships, these girlfriends and such, I was like, man, there's got to be something different. And August 7th, 1999, I walked into a dark back room of a bar with my depression medications, and yeah, I just decided that, what the heck with the world. If people really don't care about me, I didn't turn for help. That was the biggest thing, because I just assumed that in life, if you aren't strong enough to man up, and I was just in a really dark space mentally,
Sure.
emotionally, physically, spiritually in that time. Even prior to that, for a good 5 or 6 years, I got divorced from my oldest son's mom. I went back to drinking because I had quit actually for 5 years. And so and I'll tell you what, the only thing I vaguely remember, this was now 24 and a half years ago, August 7th, I vaguely being in the emergency room, having my mouth filled with liquid charcoal
To absorb everything.
to absorb all the drugs and
Yeah.
everything out of my system. And I spent 3.5 weeks on a locked unit of the mental health floor at the hospital. But here's the deal. When I got discharged from there and got into treatment, into therapy, and prescribed Prozac and Seroquel and all those other make me feel good meds, Doug took and chose when to take them. Doug chose when to go to therapy. Well, I'm having a good week. I don't need to go. And that's the problem. That is today's problem, is people. I got on this merry-go-round, I call it. And on the merry-go-round, until it stops, then you can get off. Yeah. If it keeps going, and you think about that, put all of life's problems on that merry-go-round and sit on that horse, or whatever physical piece you want to call that. And that's what Doug played. And research has shown those who attempt a first, if you don't do the steps, there will be a second within 2 years. February 2001, within 2 years.
Yeah.
February 2001, I took my knife and made an attempt. So it's many, we lose, I don't know what it is, the number of youth and adults and older and such, veterans, active duty. 547 active duty alone took their life last year.
Wow.
And I'm sure that number will be again somewhere around there this year. I was on another show just a few days ago, a Navy guy, and during his deployment, they lost 13 to suicide.
During the deployment. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the whole point why he started his
Yeah.
show, is to more mental health really needs to be open. We talk about taboo subjects. We just shh,
Yeah.
don't talk to him, don't say that, or whatever the taboo topic is. We've, as a society, in my opinion, we've become fixated on talk about the gossip, talk about what's going on in Hollywood or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, the heck with what's going on in Hollywood. Hollywood only produces drama. We are the ones that are in charge of our own drama.
That's right.
And if we don't ask for the help, it's okay not to be okay. We hear so much campaigns about suicide prevention and depression and anxiety and other mental health topics, but it's like, once we start, oh shh, don't say that word, don't say those words over there.
Yeah.
Aunt Mary, she's a little loopy or something.
Right.
We have stigmatized mental health so bad that it's like the plague. It's like the 1920s, 30s plague, or whenever that was, that
Yeah.
we just treat it. And I wear these bands on my arm. I wear, and one is never, never, never give up. We can stop suicide. And then this metal one from the Till Valhalla. Those of your listeners who are familiar with the Till Valhalla, they do great things. I'm an elite member.
Hmm.
Do not give in to the war within.
Yeah.
That's where I was at. I had my own mental war going on inside. And on the inside of that is my 20-year reminder from August 7th, 1999.
Wow.
I wear
Yeah.
this 24/7. This is my uniform. I keep this uniform on 24/7, 365
Yeah.
as a reminder from where I've come.
You know, listening to your story, I gotta imagine there's some people out there who probably could relate to where you're coming from, or came from, I should say, where you had this sense of, I don't have any, I don't have any purpose. Who cares if I'm here or not here? There's, what difference does it make? That type of thing. And um, I think a very obviously therapy is important in this, but a very important part of it is figuring out, what is your purpose. You're here for a reason. There's something here, right? And I believe that you've found your purpose. You're out there and you're helping uh, other veterans, service members, other folks who are in that dark place. You're helping them, and that's your purpose, right? But those people need to have a purpose, a reason to get out of bed in the morning and put their clothes on, brush your teeth, take a shower, not in that order, hopefully. But getting out and going and doing something that makes a difference, doing something that helps somebody else, um, that can improve their communities, or to do something that just matters. Um, when we all served in the military, even during peacetime, there is a purpose to what we do in the military. We are the defenders of our country. Whether you agree with the wars that we got into or not doesn't really matter. The fact that we exist and we put the uniform on and we're there, we serve as a deterrent to other people who might otherwise want to do us harm. And when they do do us harm, we are the ones who go and do the work to defend the country. And
Right.
so there's a huge sense of purpose there, if you think of it that way.
Uh,
Um, and then when we get out, what is a veteran? Wh- Who are we? What do we do? You know, what we got to find another thing
well,
that is meaningful to us and gives us a sense of purpose, right? Um, and that to me, I believe, is part of the path out. I don't know. Is there something else? Am I missing any components to that? But I believe that that's a big part of it, anyways.
well, part of this is you want to leave a legacy, or you want to find a reason to leave a legacy.
Right.
Unfortunately, yes, there are some families who cannot bore children. They can't, for whatever reason, they don't get approved for the adoption process. And I feel for those families.
Yeah.
You know, being somebody that was adopted, never really knowing who my real dad was, even though a gentleman that claimed to be my dad at 14 while in Boy Scouts, my mom kind of brainwashed me. He really wasn't. 8 years ago, I assist a sister found me through Facebook that I never knew about. She was she was hidden by my late mother, and come to find out the gentleman who tried to have a relationship with me turned out to be my real dad. Sadly, he passed away of alcoholism and cancer
Mm.
about two and a half, 3 years ago. But to your point, everybody has a purpose. Some just don't know how to discover it.
Right.
And a great friend, fellow Toastmaster, which, if anybody doesn't know, Toastmasters Communication Leadership Organization, started by Dr. Ralph Smedley in October 22nd of 1924, with just 20 businessmen in California. Today has well over 300,000 in about 142 countries.
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
it's all over the place. I know people
yeah,
from Japan who are a part of it,
mhm.
like there's people all over who
Eh,
are a part of
and that's been
Toastmasters.
my saving grace.
Hmm.
Because of Toastmasters, taught me how to find my voice in 1991, and for 22 years. Now, can't do the math from 1991 to 2023 and come up with 22 years, because it was it was August 7th, 1999, when I left Toastmasters for about 10 and a half, 11 years, because of my darkness, because of lack of discipline on myself.
Hmm.
I didn't have no one, being from the military, being from how I was disciplined by my late grandfather. I mean, I stole a 15-cent candy bar when I was 6 years old, and you would have thought I stole a $15,000 car. I got my backside blistered twice, had to go back to apologize, and that's even in the book. However, I learned you do not take anything if you do not have the funds to pay for it.
Right.
Now,
That's right.
60, almost 61 years old, I still remember that butt whooping that granddad. You can't do that kind of stuff today. You go to jail for abuse and everything else.
That's right. Yeah.
But to the point, I belong, like the Jackson County Military Coalition. It's a coalition that was started 2 years ago. I'm the co-chair. I'm on the governor's challenge for access to lethal means and overprescribing psychotropic medications. I join organizations and causes that influence me, that
Hmm.
keep strengthening my growth. Like you said, I will never be at the grand mountain, but I'm getting closer. I'm like that little yodel guy on Price is Right, climbing that mountain before falling over it.
Sure.
I've already fell over it.
Right.
I'm back down in
Uh, and
back down
you're
climbing.
just going to continue climbing it, right?
Yeah, and with my book, with these podcasts, which has been a godsend just in less than a week. And looking forward to, if it's God's plan, I don't live the way I look at my life, Scott, is I don't live for tomorrow, I live for the moment.
Mhm.
Because even though I'm a disabled Iraq veteran, it doesn't matter. Something could happen in an hour, in a day, in a week, in a month, and I'm not here.
That's right.
And my good comrade Chuck Dodge, Mr. Enthusiasm from Owasso, Michigan, we came up with a tag for that hope. Helping one person every day. Helping one person every day is what that hope stands for.
Excellent. Well, and if you think about it, if you are out there joining organizations that matter to you, right? The ones that you join, great. They matter to you, and they are uh, the type of organization that you want to be a part of. But there's other organizations out there that are different from what you are into, and you may not have any interest in joining those organizations, but somebody else might, right? And I guess that's the point. Is there are tons of organizations out there that you can, I don't want to say volunteer, but you can just get involved with. Um, Maybe it's volunteering, maybe it's going to like a Toastmasters type of organization, maybe it's a you gardening club, for whatever it is, something that matters to you. And maybe you have a talent that you can help other people with this, right? And that becomes your purpose, that becomes the thing that you are looking forward to. Like, hey, I can't wait to that next event that I can go to, or that next thing that I can go to, and go and help this person who is having this trouble with, I don't know, fill in the blank, whatever it is. um, Even if it's something as trivial as, like I said, a gardening club, where it's like, oh, Sally was having trouble growing tomatoes this year, and I had the greatest tomatoes that I've ever had. I'm going to go help this person out, and help them, and hopefully they will have better stuff, right? But it's just that little thing. It's like, I want to go and help that person. And if you don't, you almost feel like you're letting those people down. And so now you have that purpose, the thing that you were lacking when you're in that dark place. You now have a purpose, as big or as small as it may be. It's a purpose, right? And you have a reason to get out of bed and to go do something, and go and improve your lives, and the lives of other people. Because if you're not helping yourself, how are you going to be able to help other people? You can't. There's that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So, you know, fill your cup up a
Try,
bit
but
too, right?
you
Yeah,
can certainly try pour from that empty cup, but if something comes out, you're a magician.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And you made a great point, because what I have learned in this last, it'd be 6 years, January 8th, that I started the employment at Lifeways here in Jackson, and I learned coping skills. Lots of people don't understand that if you're doing things for enjoyment, that's a coping skill. It's just that we call it a coping skill. Going out and singing karaoke, that might be a coping skill.
Right.
Or listening to relaxation music, taking a walk, horseback riding, journaling. Those are all coping mechanisms. And for me, I didn't have a peer support specialist who's been down a journey of heck, to the point where they almost gave in to that war within. And if maybe, just maybe, if the peer support specialist program and peer recovery program would have been around in 1999, 2000, instead of waiting till like 2005 before it really started to begin, maybe that second attempt might not have happened. I don't know. We can't rewrite history. We know that. But we can make our own history. And that's what I'm doing now. I am, for, heck, the past late state commander, Mike Fennes, appointed me the Department of Michigan's Veterans of Foreign Wars mental health. Well, then he called it PTS director, because I don't say the D because I wasn't born with post-traumatic stress. I was injured by it. The world still calls it PTSD. He appointed me then PTS director. We are now mental health director. And this summer at the state convention, the Council of Administration approved mental health as a recognized bylaws program for the state of Michigan VFW. I run it. I distributed nearly 1,500 pounds of mental health resources and gun locks at the fall conference, and I've got another supply sitting to my right of here in the downstairs of my home. I've got more to distribute, because if we educate people, hopefully enough up here, and pull on their heartstrings a little bit tighter, we might finally start to change that stigma talk and doing nothing to doing something.
Right.
And for those listeners out there, I know someone right this very minute listening is probably to that break point. They've lost a lot of friends and family members this past year. They've lost people who were their support system to COVID, to car accidents, to drug overdose, to drunk driving, to murder, to fires, to mass shootings, whatever. Know that you do matter always. There is hope, because without you in this world doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right. It's you do matter. Everybody who's listening here, you do matter. No matter how dark of a hole you feel like you might be in right now, or how little purpose you might feel like you have, sometimes you might have to go out there and find a purpose. There's no when you're born, there's nobody who comes into the delivery room and just like on a silver platter delivers your purpose and like, here you go, this is what you're supposed to do with the rest of your life, the next 80-90 years. Yeah, the book of life. This is your path, so you're gonna have to do this. I think we might actually be doing ourselves a disservice with certain things that are just expected of us. Like you're expected to go to school when, in kindergarten and, first, second, all the way through high school, you're expected to do that. Right. And you're just being told, hey, this is what you need to do. And then after high school, you either go to college, you join the military, you get, go to, trade school, or do one of those types of things after that. But it's like, okay, now you have a little bit of choice of what you're going to do, but it's not a lot of choices. I mean, yes, there's a lot of different jobs out there. You could be, all sorts of different things, but that's kind of, where where you go. But what is your purpose in doing that? Why are you going to get a job? Like,
find identity.
What is the purpose of getting a job? Why? So you can buy a house and food and clothes and all these things. There's things that you, quite frankly, probably don't even need, that you end up buying, and that's the purpose of getting a job, right? So right. You find the purpose, I think, first. Like, what is it that you want to do with your life? Mm-hmm. How do you want to impact this world? You said leaving a legacy. And some families don't have the ability to have children, so you don't have or maybe some people just, quite frankly, don't want children, right? For whatever reasons. But you end up having um, uh, nobody to, leave this legacy behind to, right? But think about other people, right? Maybe there's people in your community that their lives get impacted because you are, you know, feeding meals to homeless people at a homeless shelter or something. I don't know. Find something, and whatever it is that you do with your life should just be supporting that purpose, right? And maybe you need money, so you get a job, but and maybe it's not doing that thing because maybe there's no money to be made in whatever it is that you're doing, but you find that purpose, and just think of your job, whatever it is, as the way you're funding whatever that purpose is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And being homeless, I've been down that road. And when I was working, doing my job that I do before we changed over to the veteran side of the house of providing service. I was providing coping skills at the shelter, and I would share with people that I once was a resident of this very same shelter. So it is possible. Anything is possible if you're willing to work. If you're not willing to work, if you want to sit back and expect what I learned from a lot of those who are hurting and struggling down at that shelter when I was teaching coping skills is some people, the landlord decided to sell the house out from under them at no notice, or some people, the circumstances happened against their plan.
Right.
However, some go down that wrong road, and I probably went down a lot of wrong roads that led me to some of my misfortunes of life.
Sure.
But for those who are really hurting, you have to, it's the old adage, you fall down, you pick yourself up, you wipe yourself off, and you keep on going.
Yeah.
You keep going, for every two steps forward, you're always going to find a step back. And my good friend Chuck mentions in a lot of his motivational speaking, you can only control what you can control. Don't worry about what you can't control. And so many of us, me included, I've tried to control those things that I can't control.
Right. Right.
And look where it got me.
And it's frustrating.
I mean, I drove a Navy ship through 40-foot waves, 20-foot squalls, and 45-degree rolls in the North Atlantic on the way to Beirut, Lebanon in 1982. I couldn't control that, but I could control staying on course.
Sure.
And that's where we get off course in life. And when we get off course in anything we do, sometimes getting back on course takes a lot more energy and time and initiative, but you got to hold yourself accountable. And that's probably where I went wrong, is I didn't hold myself accountable because I didn't have people to hold me accountable.
Right. Right. And that goes back to the discipline that you were talking about before. In the military, there's somebody there who, if you're not there for PT, for example, like they're going to be like, all right, where the hell are you? And they're going to
battle buddy,
make sure you're there, and if you're not, you're going to get punished to the point where you don't want to miss it, so that type of thing exists. You get out of the military, there's nobody there, unless you have that system in place. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a neighbor or somebody, a coworker, whatever, who can help hold you accountable to those things. And if you don't have that, then it's on you to hold yourself accountable, and that's a lot harder, I think, to just have that inner drive, inner discipline to keep yourself going. Now maybe you have that inner drive and your inner discipline because you're doing it for somebody else. You're taking care of yourself, you're eating right, you're exercising, you're doing this because you want to be there for your kids. You want to grow old and see them grow up and get married and have kids and grandchildren, whatever. You want to be able to do that, so you do that for those other people. But if you don't have any of that purpose in life, those other people in your life that would drive you, then what's the point? So yeah, you got to find that purpose, and you got to have the discipline to keep going and doing the things that are helping you achieve the goals that you are setting out for yourself. And I think that's an important part of this. For the listeners who are maybe in a place where they need some guidance, some help, or even there might be some organizations out there who maybe have had some problems with this type of situation in amongst their ranks, and they are looking for some training or workshops or help to figure out how do we prevent this, how do we prevent suicides in the workplace, or in our schools, or in our whatever the organization is, or even just for the individuals themselves who are looking for some help. Where can people go to get in touch with you and find out more about Beacon for Hope and all the work that you do?
Well, you can check out my website, douglasbrinker.com. You can email me at douglasbrinker.com. You can call me 517-499-0926. Yes, I will put that out there because I do that for a reason. Scott, I have taken calls of veterans at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning that don't feel safe. I've given up a few hours of my sleep so they don't become a statistic, because I could have became another statistic of the day-to-day every 83 to 87 minutes.
Yeah.
Veterans taking their life, but they can do that. They can, check me out on LinkedIn, Facebook, I have an Instagram. I don't get on there very much. Twitter, TikTok. However,
Sure.
if you're in the Michigan area, come find me at a VFW department event, or get a hold of me however you need to get a hold of me. But here's the thing, for our organizations that have a challenge with the whole employee assistance program with their staff and their mental capacity, it's burnout. It starts with burnout. We're putting so much pressure on people. And when peer pressure happens, people get backed into a corner, and like a mad dog or a cat, they're going to come out swinging with claws and everything. And so that's, in my opinion, and I've studied a lot of customer service satisfaction in the mental health field of people's minds when they're at work. For an organization, it's important to do self-care checks all the time. Always check in with your staff. If you truly care about your internal customer, which is your employee, most likely they're going to care about your external customer that's paying you for a product or service.
Right.
And in turn, you're going to reduce the turnover, and you're going to increase productivity, morale, anything. So if anybody's interested, get a hold of me. I would be happy. We can work out all the details of me coming in. I can do a 1 hour, I can do 2 hours, 4 hours, all day. We'll have those interactive workshops, because my whole goal is to save lives.
Yeah.
However I can do it, doesn't matter. They don't even have to be a veteran, but I can guarantee it, most organizations have many veterans employed in them, including my own, at work. And the other thing is, we have to protect our youth. We have to start taking more stock and more investment into our youth, because every day or every month, at least 25 plus young people are taking their lives.
That's too many.
We know that.
One is too many, but
My agency has actually responded to schools where 5, 6, and 7-year-olds want to kill themselves and kill the teacher. Well, where are they getting this? Where are they getting this type of you and me weren't thinking anything close to any of that. We're thinking just about getting back outside and for recess.
That's right. Yeah, if I wanted to hurt anyone, it was anyone who was standing in my way from getting outside for recess.
Yeah. Monkey bars or the swings.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate that all the work that you do, and I will have the links that you mentioned in the show notes for the listeners who want to get in touch and find out more about what it is that you do, and how you might be able to help the folks in their organization, or for somebody who just needs to reach out and get some support. That I think that's a great resource, a great service that is being offered there.
And real quick about the discipline, my
Yes.
great friend Christy Stockwright took her Create Your Sweet Life program a couple of years ago. She was my saving grace that taught me my true purpose, held me accountable, got my procrastination moved farther off the plate, charged and motivated me to get my book written. And she had those hard, tearful conversations with me, and that's really what fired me up, is any of that. And that's what we need. We need those battle buddies in our organization that will stand up and become drill instructors sometimes. We really do.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need to have a drill instructor who's there and can kick your butt every once in a while if you need it, get you back on track.
Yeah, physically, I can't do the push-ups no more.
Right. Yeah, it gets a little tougher as time goes on, but you can definitely have someone there who is in your corner. They want you to succeed. As hard as some of the drill instructors or drill sergeants, whatever branch you're in, as hard as they were on you, they were only that hard because they wanted you to succeed. They didn't want you to fail. They wanted to create the best soldier, Marine, sailor, airman, that they could. That's their job, is to be hard, because life is hard, military is hard, combat is hard, and they want
life is hard.
Yeah, well, yeah, everything. Yeah, so
everything in life. I leave the listeners with this: place your hand over your heart. Feel that heartbeat?
Yeah.
You have purpose.
That's right.
Purpose every time that heart beats. That's a reason to live.
Yeah.
No matter how dark the storms are, that heartbeat will beat faster and push you through those dark clouds like it did for me in August of 1999.
When things go sideways, will you be prepared? Some people are concerned they might have to go for a long time without electricity or even food. That's why I want to introduce you to 4patriots.com. Get preparedness products you can use now, and that could save your life later. My favorite is 4Patriots' new solar generator, the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. It uses the endless free power of the sun to power lights, your TV, medical equipment, even run your fridge. Plus, it's expandable and comes with a free solar panel. Or pick up one of 4Patriots' best-selling survival food kits. Delicious tasting and designed to last for 25 years. They even have kits with real meat, and if the power's out, no worries. Just boil water over a fire, simmer, and serve. You'll enjoy a hot meal and stay safe in a crisis. More smart people than ever are finding 4Patriots. Over 2 million customers trust them, and you might have even seen them on TV. I had the folks at 4Patriots set up a special page for you at 4patriots.com/drive-on. so that listeners of this podcast can see this week's discounts and deals before they go away. Go to 4patriots.com/drive on, but hurry, these deals won't last long. Save more and get peace of mind now by going to 4patriots.com/drive on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we wrap this episode up, I like to end episodes, especially episodes like this. We're talking about kind of a heavy subject here. I'd like to end with a little bit of humor, just to maybe put a smile on folks' faces, because maybe this is the only smile that they get, the only laugh that they get all day. So I do this segment, especially with when I have another veteran on the show, because I think we like to laugh at some things that we can relate to. And the segment is called "Is It Service Connected?" And so we'll take a quick look at a video of a service member doing something, either doing something stupid or in a situation that's a difficult situation. They fall, they get hurt. It's kind of like America's Funniest Home Videos type of thing. So we can laugh about it. It's all in good fun. And then we kind of talk about is that service connected disability, whatever ended up happening to this individual. So I'm gonna share my screen here so you can see it as well, Doug. And let me just make that a little bit bigger for you.
And
we'll
maybe
take
somebody's funniest home video things, is it Service Connect? Maybe they should have called 988.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So in this video here, for the folks who are listening to the podcast and can't view the video, I'm going to try to describe it. Right now, it looks like a kind of marshy area. It looks like maybe a river, or not a river, but like a stream going across the screen, with a log of some sort crossing that stream, with a soldier on the other side. So I'm imagining he's going to try to cross this stream on the log, and I'm guessing he's going to be a little bit wet by the end of this video. So let's take a look. He's on the log. He's doing okay until he's not, and he smacks on the log, and he's now in the water. I got to imagine I saw another guy on the shore, the opposite shore, and he was kind of watching him come across this thing.
Could have been filming him.
It probably was another guy filming. There's probably another angle, another video of this that we don't have right now.
There's your evidence.
Yeah. Well, so first thing, he hit that log pretty hard. It looked like maybe his face hit it. So maybe there's some sort of injury there that could be service connected. One thing I got to say is, at least he got it on video. So
he's got evidence for the board.
He can use that for evidence. Exactly.
Was he ordered to go on that log, though?
Well, you know what? This is my guess. So he was on the opposite side of that stream, and there were guys on the other side filming it.
Side.
There's at least two guys on the other side filming it. On the filming side, anyways. So they somehow got across the stream. I'm imagining they crossed that log successfully, and this guy didn't. Quite frankly, he took it hard. It was either to the chest. The video was kind of grainy. It was either to the chest or like the chin as he hit that log. So I gotta imagine if he got injured, that he might have lost a couple teeth.
He must have been the new recruit that just joined the service.
Yeah, he's not too good on his feet. That log, though, that didn't look like the sturdiest log. No. Like I would have found another way across.
It had some challenges.
Yeah.
I would have just went to the water, heck with it.
Exactly. Yeah. You're gonna have wet feet. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have wet feet, but so what?
They'll dry
You've
out.
done this before. I've walked through rivers before. I've walked through, up to my waist, like up to, here almost, walking through just to get across the river. There was no bridge to cross. There's no logs that we can put across that we can climb or walk across those. We walked across the thing in the water. I mean, I don't know how clean that water was. Maybe you get some other nasty infection or something like that from it, but at least you don't fall and hurt yourself. So anyways, thanks for again taking the time to join us, sharing your story. I know that's not the easiest thing to do, but sometimes somebody's story of survival is another person's survival guide. And that I'm grateful that you came on to share your story with us. So
I'm honored
thank
to
you
be
again.
here. Thank you for your service and continued service, because regardless of the uniform that you put on every day, you're still doing a service by putting people on a show to not only share, but to spread love, hope, education, humor.
Exactly.
Even if it is trying to walk on a unsturdy log.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So thank you again, and best for you and the work that you do. Thanks for listening to the Drive On podcast. If you want to support the show, please check out Scott's book, Surviving Son, on Amazon. All of the sales from that book go directly back into this podcast and work to help veterans in need. You can also follow the Drive On podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.